I have a YouTube channel. Talk about financial literacy, real estate investing, personal development at Tyson DelaCruz on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook also at Tyson DelaCruz. And any updated information, any events that I host will be at TysonDelaCruz.com. Often host quick seminars on real estate investing, financial literacy, and then I have personal development or personal empowerment, personal freedom clients, just kind of helping them flip their life and kind of break out the 9-to-5, which is my main thing, is ultimately using real estate as a vehicle to earn money, to ultimately have somebody find their passion and do things that they truly enjoy, because real estate can give somebody that opportunity.
Hello, family and friends. Welcome to another Talks with Liem. This is available to the billions around the world on YouTube in 4K and audio streaming services like Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. If you like this content, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And now onto the podcast. So what do? You're doing real estate. You mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
How long you been doing that for? What specific? Is there a specific thing that you do in there? Is it flipping or what?
Yeah, great. So I was a traditional REO agent back in 2010, 11, 12, and then started flipping real estate. I got into real estate because I wanted to own properties. I wanted to invest in properties.
What's REO?
Bank-owned properties. So, So they would, like foreclosures, Fannie and Freddie they would foreclose on them, and a REO based agent would be either the representing listing agent or the buyer's agent.
So back in those years, that was right after the 08-09 crash. So there was a lot of bank owned property happening in Las Vegas. It was a devastating time real estate wise there.
Ghost town in some of these places.
And was it also bank properties? It's bank locations, or is it the just the residential that they own commercial? They own with their own. Did the banks buy a bunch of residential lots, and then if you're asking if it was commercial and residential, residential was what I represented at that time. So single family houses, mostly. And these houses back then were going for $80,000-$100,000. Today, that same property is probably worth $360,000, $340,000.
Well, so basically in the early 2000s, the mortgage industry in the U.S. gave out so many irresponsible loans that you had this gigantic portion of America on 3-year interest only loans, and then they default, and that's what caused that crash. But all the valuations had gone skyrocketing based on this free money. And then when it crashed, there were so many people that had second and third homes in Vegas, people from California or that weren't even in town or whatever. So they're going to let go of, these houses. So the bank has to foreclose. They've lended out all this paper, all this money. And so now they're stuck holding the bag on all these homes, and they got to unload them for cheap because they're not worth anything anymore. Is that a pretty? Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
That's super accurate, man.
All right.
Yeah. And they were just giving them. They were just.
It hurts my feelings just to say it.
No, fuck the banks.
Little did I know
fuck
that
them for not controlling their shit.
Not for the banks, but because I love home ownership and what it means to Americans, and I love people having a home and stuff.
But they were giving those Fugazi loans out, if you guys, what was it, The Big Short?
Mm-hmm.
They were giving, movie. The movie. Yeah, they were giving, anybody with a heartbeat a loan, and then 6 months later you can refi out of it or HELOC out of it. Mm-hmm. But little did I know that those type of banks, because I started flipping in 2014, 2015, and then I actually started focusing on those type of foreclosures
Yeah.
on those properties that I knew where the mortgages were sold in the secondary mortgage market, where they kind of wrongfully foreclosed on some people, or they didn't actually have the deed of trust, so they couldn't necessarily like completely foreclose, and this property would sit vacant for years and years. So those are properties that I went after in 2014, 15, 16. And those are the properties that I like either short sold or flipped.
Is that what you're doing now too?
Yeah. Yeah.
And is with the COVID, how's that affect what you've been doing since?
Dude, it doesn't necessarily affect me much. We had a bunch of data in our pipeline, like to flip on properties, and I was getting a bunch of referrals throughout that time because a lot of people were dumping properties, even investor buddies that I knew. So it didn't necessarily affect me, but I was, when COVID first happened, I had a bunch of money out. Like I had a fuck ton of money out. I had just came back from Peru. I stayed in the Amazon jungles for a month, and I came back, and then COVID happened, and I was like, shit, I have all this money out. What am I going to do? Like, am I going to have to file bankruptcy?
Right. So
because I didn't know what was going to happen economically.
Yeah. So for our listeners, that means you had bought a bunch of properties and you were in the process of renovating, which is, all your money is deployed at that time. And if the market crashes while all your money is tied up, then your values decrease.
Correct.
So that's the concern, for our listeners. Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. I mean,
so
logically you would think like global pandemic, economic shutdown, super unemployment would be miserable for home prices. You would think that would just destroy home prices. Yeah. So I was, when March lockdown happened, I was ready. I was like, well, I guess I won't do any more transactions this year. I guess I'll just hang out. I was prepared to sit the year out. Because logically that's what you thought would have made sense at that time. But
it was complete opposite.
Yeah. Surprising in many ways.
It was, I was just in shock when the strip shut down.
Yeah.
And as I'm talking to you guys, the first thought I was like, holy fuck, what am I going to do with all this money that I have out? Not so much about the virus, because if the virus was that deadly, and granted, mad respect to anybody who had lost lives during that process, but if it was that deadly as it initially came out of, like money wouldn't even matter. So why was I even thinking about money? The second thought should have been like, or the first thought should have been like Walking Dead. I got to catch up on some Rick Grimes action.
The zombies are coming.
I got to figure out how to live.
Yeah, but you mentioned a momentous thing though, because I heard people say they've never shut the strip down before, because we're Vegas locals, and the strip is the heartbeat of the city. Everybody knows Las Vegas, and we're talking about those giant casinos. But literally, they closed their doors, and some of them didn't have doors to close. Like they're designed to be open all the time forever.
Yeah.
So you'd see casinos boarded up where they built barricades because it didn't have doors. So the idea of closing a casino is really alien and strange. It's surreal.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was so rad. I took my mountain bike on the strip several times. Like actually the next day after the strip closed, I was like, I'm going to take my bike on the strip and get some kick-ass photos.
I got to see this.
Yeah. And then catch up on my Rick Grimes action moves. But yeah, so I rode my bike down the strip like a lot, man. I would go on the escalator and like down these like tunnels that, you naturally couldn't even walk through because nobody was there. There were hardly security. It was crazy because there were boards on the freaking Louis Vuitton like place and Louis Vuitton store,
the retail store.
What I think it was 6 months after when they shut down, some of the casinos were still. It still took a while. I forget. Like, was it 9 months? I forget the.
Well, some of them are still closed.
Yeah. So I think it was 6 or 8 months later. I was driving around and I saw some of the casinos still closed down and the boarded up things that you're mentioning. and it started almost like the dust was accumulating, where it started to have like the Walking Dead type, like apocalyptic scene. Like when I drove by, I'm like, holy shit, this is just like the fucking movies. Like this, it should be starting soon. But just for our listeners or whatever to think about the people that weren't here in Vegas, just it looked like the movies, an apocalyptic movie. Wooded up wood to close up all the front doors, because those doors are meant to be open 24/7. They never even thought about locking them ever before, and it just, I don't know how, other than saying it's just looked like the movies, and dust flying on it and started to build up like in an apocalyptic
I think
movie.
it's weird. We're like 2 years in now, coming up on 2 years, and it feels normal. Then you get these news reminders that, hey, there's a new variant or whatever. There's people that are still concerned. But I don't think all the casinos will come back. I mean, Palms is still closed. I think Rio is still closed.
Yeah. There's another one, like an old, because I have property out in Water Street. Like
Fiesta never came back.
I think they're selling. So
I think Texas Station over on Rancho is still down and out. So, I mean, it's hard to express the impact of it and the surrealness of it. Just, it changed our world. And now we're in a weird place where we think we're back at it, but who knows what's happened next.
Yeah, I think it's also accelerated a lot of things, both business wise, the way that realtors do business, the way that I do business, and the way that any retailer does business. Yeah. You know, that we're moving in this space of like digital era, digital currency, mobile notaries. Like, there's so many different facets that have come out of this, for good, that will change the way that we do business moving forward.
No, it's just moving us into the metaverse.
Yeah. Yeah. You can buy like Nikes in the metaverse and stuff like that, It's like Ready Player One. But I think it's definitely accelerated the freaking electronic era of this.
I just saw a news article. Somebody bought an NFT yacht for like $650,000, and I'm baffled because you can buy a real yacht for that kind of money. And then it wasn't even like it was like a 3D model of a yacht, but it wasn't like it was like a 1980s blocky yacht. So it was strange to me. Like, if it was an amazing 3D thing, then I don't know. The valuation seems crazy to me.
It's interesting, man. I was having a conversation with a buddy. He's real into like that world, and real estate's moving into that space, specifically for land flips and to build. Basically, this world is gonna be like traditional real estate stuff. But I was talking to him, and like, I'm just blown away. I understand the concept of NFTs, right? Like these photo images, cool, rad. I get it. And honestly, all this just shows to me is like, anything that you place value on and it's pushed enough, you can make money off of it.
Yeah. It's
kind of cool.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the confusing thing to me is maybe I'm an old fashioned guy, but even if I had millions, like if I had tens of millions of dollars, I still don't think I would drop $650 on a digital yacht, because I would like to think I could think of better things to do with $650,000.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wouldn't buy $650,000. What is it?
650,000,
dude. Fuck that, man.
Hopefully, it's some money laundering thing from mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather
It'd
buy
be just like expensive paintings.
I'd rather buy 30 cars and do my own demolition derby.
That's that's a lot of dough. Yeah. That's a lot of dough.
Yeah.
Like to drop on a digital yacht that you have to wear an Oculus to experience.
Yeah. It's weird.
Like, that's weird, kind of. I want to experience like it physically and have the sea water. I was going to say semen.
Are we past 10 minutes?
Yes. Cuss as much as you want now. We have a thing we try not to cuss the first 10 minutes for YouTube.
This is great.
I don't know if it's working.
But just like, that feeling and that breeze, like, I want to feel that. I don't know, man.
You'd rather be in Peru.
I would spend a couple grand though on some NFTs, but nothing
Yeah.
Nothing more than that.
Have you started working more after 2017, and or has your business, how's the finances, I guess, when you think about it?
Has your business suffered from your painting?
No. Actually, like through psychedelics and experiencing psychedelics and meditation and plant medicine, man, my businesses have exploded. Like, because my personal development exploded. And I think that goes hand in hand with business. And I started just like not recklessly, but like, why not? Like, try these things or do this.
Fearlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been the game changer. So financially, like I'm good. Like I want more things, or I intend to grab more things and do more things with those. But like my business exploded.
What do you think was the best decision you made in the last 4 or 5 years? Outside of ayahuasca.
Best decision.
Let's go business wise. What's the best business decision?
Good.
Cutting all that staff.
Best business decision, man.
Employees are expensive.
In America, they are.
Yeah.
They are, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get a bunch of Bangladeshi kids to work for you.
Yeah, I had a bunch
profits skyrocket.
I had a bunch of VAs in Mexico and the Philippines. So that was cool. Best business decision. I would say switching my mentality from a solid like flippers mentality, like just flip, to holding more properties as passive income. That's been a game changer for me, because then that eases up the pressure to flip. And I realized like a lot of things and things I was flipping for were kind of like also a little egotistical, and then filling my creative void. I'm a creative dude. Like I said earlier, I love to paint. And so, flipping a house is great. I can help design it and stuff.
So for our listeners, you're talking about the difference between flipping and holding, where a flip is you're trying to buy a home or a property cheap and repair it, fix anything that needs to get fixed and kind of upgrade it, redo the floors and walls or whatever and make it attractive. And now you've taken an undervalued property and then you're going to take it back to the market and sell it at a profit, because you do have some costs for all the repairs or upgrades you made. And then there's a transaction cost and a holding cost. So it is challenging. A lot of people think they can watch these TV shows and just go do it. But you really have to be smart about getting that property low enough on the front end that you can clear a profit selling it at market value, even with a beautiful kitchen or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So are you saying that you do that flip and then it's kind of, then you're on to the next one, right? You always got to chase.
Yeah, you are. Just like a traditional real estate agent or a wholesaler, or you finish the property, you sell it, and then you got to get the next one, or you're always just kind of like your last deal.
Yeah.
I like in 2017, I flew up to Seattle and met one of my mentors, and he had asked me, he was like, hey, how many, he has like 200 something doors, rentals.
Oh yeah.
And he had asked me, he was like, hey, how many flips did you do? I was like 50 that year. And he goes, okay, how many did you keep? And I was like, 1.
Yeah.
He goes, man, you ain't nothing but a high paid agent. And he's like, when are you going to stop being rich, start being wealthy? And I'm like,
ooh,
yeah,
I like that.
And he's like, you need to make money when you sleep. So that's been one of the best decisions, is just.
So the difference there is if you can keep a property and get somebody to rent it, then you've got a monthly income just from owning that property.
Yep.
And you're not hustling for the next one, because as long as you own it, you always get rental income.
And you could still flip it later too.
Absolutely. The appreciation game is great.
Yep.
You want to buy real estate and wait, not wait to buy real estate. So
I like that.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
No, I mean, I try to explain this to people and they're like, no, the market's going to crash. I'm waiting for a good time.
Well, good luck. Like, because on a time scale, since houses have been, in this place, and since we've been creating housing, only one time on that scale has it been low, like in 2009, 10. But it was a short period of time, relatively speaking.
Right.
And it has since surpassed the prices that were for that same house now that was in like 2006.
Oh, easily, yeah.
So
Huge.
the long game for housing is great. Not only is somebody paying the mortgage down, building equity, and then you're also kicking with appreciation. So especially if you can acquire some things that have multi-income on one property, whether it's like an apartment complex, a multi-dwelling unit, something like that. Airbnb is a freaking awesome thing now.
I hear some people do well with that. The challenge in Las Vegas is that it's technically not legal in the city of Las Vegas. You have to get these permits that are hard to get, like 1 out of 1,000 people. Is that a current?
Wait, for what?
To do Airbnb in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, Las Vegas has these giant casinos, and they don't want you competing with their hotel rooms, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the city of Las Vegas is not too friendly to the idea. They don't really like crack down or anything, but can you like, so as a realtor, I can't recommend somebody, hey, go do an Airbnb. It's a great deal, because I don't know when the city might change their tune. But I do hear about people doing well at it, especially if you already own a place and then you're Airbnb-ing it. It's a different story if you're like, I'm going to go buy a house so I can Airbnb it, because now you're taking on a whole new thing, a whole new risky venture.
Yeah, that's a whole nother business model, Like for me, I found like I originally started with tenants, great, doing their thing. I didn't really like it, so now I rent per room, fully furnished rooms.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's smart.
It doesn't have to have a bunch of equity.
Yeah.
And, the only funky thing is like it's hard to refinance out of them because they don't count that as like full income. They'll accredit it to like max income, but I'm getting way more than max income on some of these properties. So because I can fit like 10 people in a house, like converted garage.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I like that model, man.
Yeah.
Because then that frees me up to do things that I like to do.
Yeah. Do you just have like bunk beds and?
No. That'd be cool. It's like camp.
I know a guy, he had a house up next to Google headquarters, and I don't want to say too much. I don't want to reveal the guy, but he bought this house, and then Google opened their headquarters like literally a block away. And so they're always hiring in engineers, and they're, these are guys from India or straight out of college from somewhere, and they're making now they're making Google salary, and the housing is so expensive there that he just starts renting out rooms in his house, and then it gets so lucrative where he's walling off the living room and creating new rooms. It turns into this giant dormitory, and at one point, some dude was renting a tent in the backyard for $500 a month, and he would have to come in to go to the kitchen and the bathroom, but he was super stoked. It's like, I'm on top of the world. I got a tent for $500,
and he can walk to work.
Yeah.
Good for him.
But that's how crazy it can get. I mean, I guess rents are skyrocketing right now, so that may be more attractive to somebody who wants a low overhead.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's some really cool like things that I've kind of learned over the course of time is figuring out how to maximize the highest and best use of the property. Whether it's converting the garage, or there's a detached garage that's an additional dwelling unit, where it can be a potential apartment or studio for somebody.
Yeah.
There's a whole host of things and opportunities to kind of make money in real estate.
Yeah.
It just depends on what a specific person's investment principles are.
Yeah.
And I think those are important.
I think 2013, when I came back to Vegas, we'd finished up in San Diego. I came back to Vegas, and I'd always wanted to be a Vegas bartender. And I was like, now's the time, because, I'm no strings and I'm ready to just make a run at it.
Yeah.
So in 2013, the market was still hurting. This is back then. Southern Highlands. It's funny. Southern Highlands right now is like prime super real estate, but back then Southern Highlands was literally ghost town.
Super ghost town. I do remember that.
Yeah,
I was telling my spouse about that.
Yeah, insane. Like you drive by and just empty houses, just crazy.
Yeah.
But at that time in 2013, I rented a room from some dude off of Craigslist. It was $300 a month.
Craigslist was safe back then.
Yeah,
and they had hookers back then too.
Yeah, and you could buy guns.
That was before the hooker purge. Not that I would know, but
for a friend.
Yeah.
Where are the hookers now?
Well, they were on Backpage for a little while, then they got. So
now they're on OnlyFans.
Yeah, now you got to go to specific websites, and that's a whole thing. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, but for $300 a month, utilities included, just a room to rent. This is off of Blue Diamond, down like Blue Diamond and Fort Apache, and it was just super efficient way to live. Like just everything's covered. I don't have to worry about anything. I got a place to sleep and park my car and get to work. Right. So
yeah.
Same room would probably be $800 a month now.
Oh yeah, it's nuts right now.
Yeah,
it's rents have skyrocketed I think this summer, early this summer is when it really went nuts. But certainly this year, rents have gone crazy in Vegas for the locals. It's tough.
Yeah. Where do you kind of see the market going? Your personal opinion.
Yeah, personally, it's hard to predict, but the two things I look at is it's basically a supply and demand issue right now. So is that going to resolve anytime soon? Is our interest rates going to go up much? Probably not anytime soon. Are people going to stop moving to Las Vegas anytime soon? I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of projections. Like we have 2 million people now. They're thinking another 1 million people want to move here in the next 10 years, which is insanity. Like there ain't that many houses, right? Yeah. They're building new houses as fast as they can, and it's such a tiny portion of the market and the need for people that want to be here.
It'll correct itself once you guys run out of water and power. It's all good. once Lake Mead is done, Vegas is done.
Yeah. Funny, I've talked to some people who are closer to that, and it's not a serious. It sucks. We need more water, but it's like
it's not a real issue. Yeah.
I mean, it's an issue, but the thing is, like the cities, something like the cities will take up like 10% of the water, and 90% is agriculture. So the first ones to start losing it will be like random alfalfa farms out in the Arizona desert.
Yeah.
Why do we need to grow alfalfa in the middle of Arizona? So those things kind of get chewed up first. And then there's all these allocation agreements and contracts between the states. So Nevada, I think, is always using less than its allocation and selling the rest to California. So
yeah, I was reading something about that. They were thinking about piping some stuff in California because of the allocation.
Yeah. I mean, there's a giant aqueduct. The California aqueduct is how the water goes now. So, I mean, if they could make that, it's just a big concrete,
ditch.
Ditch. Yeah. It's from here to California.
Aqueduct.
Yeah. So
I mean, the word today.
Yeah. It's a big concrete ditch that runs tons of water down there. So, I mean, why can't they run water into the top side of this equation? Because the water comes from like Colorado snowmelt.
Yeah.
Mostly. So can they, I mean, is there some place in Canada that's got way too much water? Or like, does Oregon have too much water? Could we run a pipe or an aqueduct?
Yeah, but that's our water. You can't have any.
Yeah. Can you run an aqueduct?
Yeah. But would you sell it, right? Would Oregon sell water?
If I had the choice, I would sell it, yes. But
yeah.
we sell power to California and water also.
Yeah.
California, every state that kind of is around California kind of contributes to California's existence. So.
Yeah. But we know there's a giant oil pipeline coming down out of Alaska since like the 70s or something. So
you guys been to Alaska?
I have not. No. So it's not a technology question.
Alaska?
Yeah.
No, I have not been to Alaska.
Here it's cold.
Like
it's nice. Did you go to Juneau?
Yes, I did go to Juneau. Yeah, and then the North Pole.
And did you go?
You've been to the North Pole?
Or what was
yeah.
Really?
I got a small parcel of land in the North Pole.
What?
Nice.
Yeah, super small. It's like the size of a nickel. It's like,
hey, whatever, man.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Sell it as an NFT.
I should, right?
Wait, how are we talking? Like 5 miles from the North Pole, or what's the
no,
the
like
actual?
like in the North Pole, like it's North Pole, Alaska, super cool
okay.
spot. It's
Yeah.
like Christmas all year round over there.
Yeah, dude, that's enough land to like put a flag in.
Yeah, like one of those pizza flags.
Just gotta make sure you're going straight down so you don't hit
Yeah.
your neighbor's dirt.
Yeah, yeah, it's super nice up there.
Yeah, what made you go up there? Just vacation or what?
Yeah,
Was the, okay.
yeah, check it out. I always wanted to go.
Yeah, I'm not good with cold.
The Northern Lights, man. I went up in February. Northern Lights or something
Nice.
crazy, man. Yeah,
We were supposed to be able to see that shit from where I live recently, and sure enough, it's fucking cloudy as fuck. Can't see anything. Can't even see the sky. Damn it.
See, you got too much water.
Yeah, right.
Tyson, what's your intuition on the property? You asked Emmett what he thinks the property in Vegas might be like in the near future. What do you have different thoughts on it by any chance?
very similar, man. I don't see, people are like, oh, I'm waiting to buy. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be waiting.
Yep.
You're gonna be waiting until you're broke. Supply and demand issue. Vegas is hot. It's a city that's growing. There's still space to grow. Mountain's Edge can still grow. Pahrump, like these other neighboring places that still have opportunity for expansion. Unless they start doing something fugazi with the loans again, I don't see that happening. Even if interest rates like increase, there's still supply and demand. A lot of people are moving out of these major places like California, for example. I think real estate as a whole is on an uptick. Still very bullish. I think, when we're talking about, because back during COVID or C-19, I don't know how we can get flagged for that, but during the pandemic, they did the foreclosure moratoriums, and the rental moratoriums, and people aren't getting foreclosed on, and people are like, oh, we're gonna wait for the sea of foreclosures hitting the market. The banks aren't gonna do that, and they're offering these people that haven't made a mortgage payment in a year and a half now.
Yeah.
Like they're offering them another 30-year loan or another 40-year loan at a lower interest rate.
Lower payment.
Yeah, lower payment. And during the time that they haven't made mortgage payments, their equity increased like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. So there's not going to be a sea of foreclosures, There's still there's a few.
But basically, since home values have gone up in general during COVID at times, or yeah, you're right. Maybe we should edit that out. It's good thinking. Yeah, since these strange times, home prices have skyrocketed. It makes it so easy to refi that the existing lenders will go, hey, we know you had some trouble. Let's refi you to a better deal, and we'll start the clock fresh.
Yep.
So when people can do that, and if somebody can't do that, they can just sell. And there's no problem. You walk with whatever your profit is.
Yeah.
So why would you foreclose when you could sell it and walk with the extra money? So that was another projection that people made that said, I see what's going to happen. I can tell you what's going to happen. And surprise, right? So it's
yeah. For me, like these, people are like, oh, the housing, it's expensive. It's expensive. It's overpriced. It's not expensive, in my opinion. It's overpriced. We're inflated. There's still opportunity to find deals for me specifically, flippers and also agents too. Like you're still going to list properties. For me, I have found a better ROI further in the United States, like Midwest, that like the ROI works is a little bit more in my favor, cash on cash, and the rents are the same. So it just makes a little bit more sense for me. But
do you end up traveling to other states a lot?
Man, I used to.
Yeah.
I don't anymore. Like have a team where I pick up, where
Nice.
I buy. And I am going to Arizona because I just closed on something in Arizona last week,
Yeah.
and they just started demo, so I wanted to go check it out.
Nice.
So I'm like, cool. It's a cool write off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it dipping.
No, it might have little dips here and there, I think, but in the long run, the trend line is going to be upwards.
Yeah. Maybe a flatten out time, I don't know. I got to look at the numbers I don't know if you looked at the numbers this month, or I think January we'll kind of see like, okay, cool. Maybe it flattened out. I don't know what the inventory is right now. I think maybe like
Still
2,000 homes available.
Super
maybe.
low. Yeah.
And that includes condominiums, townhomes.
But I think the other thing I see is that all the people I know in town, everybody I personally know, everybody I've helped buy and sell homes, everybody I see in real life, even if the economy took a dump right now, even if, things went crazy again, if there's a lockdown, whatever, I don't see these people leaving their homes. Like, they don't have someplace better to go. These are legitimate people that have a solid loan and a solid income, that this is their best gig, right? They're not motivated to dump a house in any way, shape, or form.
The way the market is too. I mean, even with people that have built a lot of equity very quickly, even if they were to sell, it's not like they would have to downgrade in order to be able to keep any of that liquid equity that they got from their house. You know what I mean? Like, the housing prices are so ridiculous in a lot of places that even with the equity, you're not gaining anything by selling unless you want to downgrade.
Yeah, people talk about selling. I go, well, don't do it unless you got someplace better to go. Like, unless you got something lined up.
Sure.
Don't jump out there and be a buyer right now if you don't have to be.
No.
Yeah, you're not going to win.
Yeah, it's tough times.
Yeah.
What do you guys, especially you, Tyson, what do you think about this whole situation with a lot of institutional firms, I guess you could say, purchasing homes explicitly with the intention of renting them out? So, for example, like Zillow has been doing this, which, has raised a lot of red flags because they can not manipulate, but they can influence the price of things that they own because people see the prices on Zillow and assume this and that. And like in Canada, for example, you have, I forget what they're called, Core Development Group or some shit, buying billions of dollars worth of homes to turn them into rental properties. This seems to be a common thing that's happening, not just in America, but all over. How do you think this will influence things in the long run, where big corporations, are essentially scooping up homes with the intention of never selling and just generating that passive income?
Tyson, you could go first. I think I know Emmett's answer. But.
Yeah, that's it's always happened. Like, it's always been around.
Mm-hmm. Yet
more so significantly, the occurrence of it and more money is being pushed in the market.
Yeah.
So two things. They've already done their market research. So for me, like for my buying strategy and my portfolio personally, I'm following that lead, right? Like I'm buying, I'm holding for a year, 2 years. If I decide to flip it or refinance out of it, I can. Great. Because I know the inventory also for homes are limited. So the cost of rent will still continue to go up every year. And long term, in my opinion, I see the accessibility for affordable housing continue to be a struggle throughout our population. Affordable housing is an issue now, and I think it will further worsen through this and those movies like Ready Player One, where people are living in a container for $1,500 a month or $3,000. Like California, is not far thought from being removed.
Yeah.
So, for me, I think just follow the lead in regards of acquiring and renting, and then also finding an opportunity to create some affordable housing, like real affordable housing. I think you see it in Seattle too. I see it in Seattle where people are are buying these kind of condos or they're renting these spaces in these high density areas where they're sharing living spaces, and their actual like sleeping quarters and kind of home quarters is 200 or 400 square feet, but then they're sharing living spaces with other people.
Like a college dorm?
Like a college dorm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I do see that happening here, and I do see like home acquisition and home ownership will be for, that higher end wealth gap, because this is just going to continue to deepen the wealth gap.
Yep.
Just my thoughts.
I agree with you. I was just curious what you thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I would separate Zillow a little bit. Zillow is kind of like an iBuyer, like Open Door, OfferPad, those kind of, like Redfin does a lot in there. Basically, they're just giving people a lowball cash offer, and 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 500 people will take it, right? They're saying, hey, I bet your house is worth $450. We'll give you $400 cash right now if you want to pick your date, and we'll just give you a check and easy peasy, right? So it takes a lot of hassle out of it, but you're losing that spread of what they think they're going to make, right? So then they look at it and go, oh, we need to replace the water heater, and then they list it, and then they'll try to sell it at a profit, right? So there's that iBuyer model of that low cash offer, which is not a whole lot different than flipping. They just do less renovation, it seems. They're just fixing anything that needs to get fixed. They're not making a fancy kitchen or awesome bathrooms or anything. So I'm okay with that, because they're not taking a home off the market for our local hardworking people, right? Our regular guy, regular couple, regular family that wants a home that's still just a home being bought and sold, right? So when you have a hedge fund out of Wall Street with $1 billion funds collecting up homes and renting them out, now that sucks to me, because they're pulling a home off the market that a young family could own and get that equity. But instead, since they can't afford to compete against these big entities, now they're stuck in the rental market, renting and paying to rent a home that they couldn't afford to buy. So the profit, right, the equity gain, that goes to this Wall Street entity, which is owned by, the shareholders who are, who owns all the stock. Is it the rich people or the poor people?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's very, like you say, it's very much a wealth problem. For an individual person, like if you got your shit together and you can buy another home and rent it out, that's great for you, right? But if there's a monstrous $1 billion fund doing this at scale, you're pulling homes off the market that people can't buy anymore. It seems predatory to me. Is it just good business? Is it just following the laws and the rules and winning? Yeah,
I don't know if this is the thing in Vegas, but here in Portland, and the Portland metro area in general, a lot of people that I've known that have gone through the process of buying a home, they have to deal with cash offers sight unseen from out-of-state buyers.
Yeah.
And it overly inflates the cost of housing. So if someone lists a house for $400K and you put an offer for 415, some yokel from California will offer 450 and they'll waive the inspection, and they'll cover the closing costs too and all of that. I see this a lot, and because I'm at the age now where a lot of my peers are starting to purchase houses, and every single one of them has had this issue where they're competing with money from who knows where,
Yeah, California's a big part of that. Any large city with higher cost of living than us is used to that. But yeah, people are coming in, and to them, dropping an extra 20 grand or an extra 50 grand, they don't care, because it looks like a steal to them, right?
No,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 800 grand will buy me a shack in San Diego. But oh man, 600 will give me this mansion in Vegas.
Yep.
Right. So 650. All right, let's do it. And you blow people out of the water. So that's people moving state to state. I'm kind of okay with that. We've seen in Vegas a long history of Chinese money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they love Rhodes Ranch. I don't know why, but they're all over Rhodes Ranch.
I've heard it's a big problem in Canada, especially in Vancouver.
Yeah.
With a lot of houses just being empty. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Obama passed that during his administration regarding investors overseas. I don't know what the specific number amount is, but if they invested X amount of dollars, they can get their visa or something of that capacity.
But what I'm seeing is they're not moving into these houses.
Oh,
right?
no.
If you wanted to come to Vegas and be one of us,
Yeah.
great, right?
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But I see outside money buying up the home, and not living there and renting it out to our locals now that are renting instead of buying.
Yeah, and then, all the equity's going to them.
Well, we're effectively shipping those rents and equities over to China.
Yep.
So that doesn't make any sense to me. I think there should be some protection for our primary residents, local working home buyers, right? And so how would you do that? And the only way I can think of is you just put a fat tax on somebody who's not buying their primary residence, right? So if you want to buy from out of state or buy from out of country, here's a fat tax on it. Take that tax money and make first-time home buyer programs. Help people with their down payments, right? Help our locals.
Something like a 40% luxury second home tax.
I don't know, 20 grand or 30 grand or whatever, you know?
Well, see, I agree with that in principle, but I feel that as a fan of white collar crime stuff, they would find ways around that 100%. Almost immediately.
Oh, totally.
Almost immediately. They would wind up paying nothing, and people, just working class people, would somehow find themselves getting screwed by it, you know?
Well, I think that just in general, when we're talking about working class people and furthering the wealth gap, because all this, it does increase the wealth gap.
Yep.
But sometimes I look and I'm like, they all have opportunities to kind of level up, right? Like change their financial status. And I get there's nuances to that. I get that, right? I get, environmental psychology plays a huge role into that. All these other things. But they, just in general, everybody has kind of the same opportunity to kind of move up. And I think providing better education to those areas, like financial literacy, isn't something that I learned in school. How to balance a checkbook, how to be an entrepreneur, or how to create a business. These small kind of nuances would change the way that people live their lives. Yeah, and potentially change their status, their financial status.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think if you think about the people you went to high school with, right? Think of your high school class. There's an average, right? There's an average person. We can't all be superstars. Correct. There's going to be somebody who's going to be the high performing, awesome, the entrepreneur, right? Who does really well, right? But we can't all be the winner.
Right.
Right. So, there's some average. I feel like it should be easier for the average, because as it stands, if you're rich, you're buying the politicians to write the laws to rig the game 100% in your favor. So we're rigging the game against our average people. So
and I feel for that because like the person who works housekeeping at the MGM, who maybe makes 60 grand a year, could have in the past afforded a home. And easily. Now she has to rent at $1,800 a month. Super sucks. Super sucks.
And have a roommate.
and have a roommate,
Convert the garage.
It's tough, man. Especially in these bigger metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
And do you get up and take your family somewhere? Do you move? Do you move to somewhere that is less financially impactful in that space?
But that's what'll end up happening, right? Because I came here from San Diego in large part because I finished accounting school. I got my degree in accounting in 2001, and I looked around and said, I'm never going to be able to afford a house in San Diego, right? Starting at zero. And smart dude, right? I went to college. I got a real degree in a real profession. And I looked around and go, you know what? This doesn't add up. So what made Vegas attractive is, hey, the numbers are more, just like you go into another state for flipping, right? Vegas was more attractive in that way, but now we're catching up to those other cities to where, what's next? Do we go to Tucson? If you start,
sorry, go ahead.
If you finish high school in Vegas today and you go, I'm priced out of life here, where do you go? Albuquerque? Do you keep moving to some other place?
It depends on your, your morals and like what you want to do and who you want to be in the world. Like,
Yeah.
You know, does the fancy house and this, you know, condo, your status, is that important? Or I've been to places in the Midwest that are so beautiful that, you know, the houses aren't mansions.
Yeah.
You know, they're, but they have land. They have land, and they love Mother Nature, and they spend time with their family, and they're not caught up in the rustle bustle. Is that a better life? You know,
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on.
But the challenge there is that when you keep rigging the laws to squeeze the average people, now this person is like, yeah, I could move off to Ohio or something, but my parents are here. I need help with babysitting.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all these, if you squeeze people in enough places, it limits their choices.
Yeah. It even limits them to move too.
Yeah.
You know, because it's costly to move.
Yeah.
I think it kind of all seems to, on the free market economy, this capitalist system, we're seeing the I don't want to say the fringes. We're seeing the mistakes that it can have.
I just think the squeeze has gotten too hard. You know, there's always been a little bit of stealing at the top.
I think that with the market economy, that is bound to happen. That it's human nature that we have this greed, this power struggle. The people at top want to keep their power and keep on squeezing those that they can squeeze. And I think that's a flaw in this market economy.
Yeah.
Game theory, yo.
Yeah. My only guess is I think literacy, education, get that in the youth. And then I theorize, this would be far-fetched, it would never probably happen, is you change the letter of the law to the spirit of the law. I have no idea how you would do that. You would
With the guillotine. That's how you do it.
you would
Revolution?
You would probably eliminate lobbying, eliminate certain politicians.
Campaign contributions?
Yep, eliminate that. And then you'd figure out a way to pay the politicians the right amount of money for them to do a moral job. And they do not, where voting actually has
Matters,
an effect. Yeah.
I think all politicians should have a shared pool of money. Anyone that wants to donate can donate, but it gets spread out evenly to everyone.
Weird.
What would that way no specific person can be influenced by one specific lobby or industry.
That's so interesting how that works, man. Like, you know, on this side of the table, it's called corruption. You know, on that side of the table, it's called lobbying.
Yeah, yeah,
name on it.
Exactly. It's insane, and this is not like a political thing either. Like it happens on both sides of the aisle. Yeah. I honestly don't think any politician actually cares about your average working class person. You know what I mean? I think that they're all just, I don't know. I hate politicians.
No, but this is how broken it is I'm 44 years old. All my life, they've been talking about affordable housing. And you know what? I never see it.
Check this out.
So,
it's funny that you bring that up, man, because I had this lot in Old Henderson that I was looking to build, and I went to the city. I got in with the city. I'm still great with the city.
Yeah.
Made some beautiful connections there in the city of Henderson. And I'm talking to one of the people that sits on the chair, and I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. Build this kind of affordable housing, either for homeless or troubled youth. And they're like, no.
Nope.
Because as an apartment complex, it doesn't increase their tax revenue in the district. And then also, as I'm diving deeper into this, affordable housing.
Wait, were they that brazen and blunt about it? They're like, hey, we don't care because it's not tax revenue?
They were pretty close to that. It was pretty like, hey, you're not going to get this passed like that.
Yeah, fat chance.
Yeah, like, hey, this isn't going to work.
Okay.
You're not even going to get heard.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So as I'm diving deeper into this, affordable housing is a lower price home solely based on the average income in the area.
Okay.
So, for example, like a prominent place in Vegas, or like, let's say Southern Highlands or Rhodes Ranch or the Ridges, you can have affordable housing in the Ridges.
Yes, it's like cheap for the Ridges.
Yeah, in an area, for people that are listening, like, where homes are 700,000,
Yeah.
800,000. You can have affordable housing in that area. That's
You're
600,000.
You're not struggling if you're up in the ridges.
Right. So it's solely based on the area.
Relative to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they still get the cuts from that.
Like the credits and all that.
The credits from that.
But
And
yeah,
it
so
blew
you're
my
saying
mind.
the reality is that it's still not affordable housing.
No.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. And I'm like, yo, and as I'm still, because I'm still in this space, because I'm doing some construction and things like that.
Yeah.
But it just blows my mind how like these things are bent.
Mm-hmm.
Before going into it, I'm like, oh, affordable housing. Okay, yeah. $200,000 home.
That's a great description of it, though.
$150,000 home.
Yeah.
And now it's like 500,000 is affordable,
Yeah.
Uh,
That's above the median for the city.
yeah. So yeah, just something to look at,
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question really quick. I don't know if you guys have these in Vegas, but all over Portland and some other areas I've lived, I would see signs stapled to like utility poles or just in the ground or whatever, handwritten usually, where people are offering cash for houses and they have a phone number. Who the fuck are these people? Is that real? Like, do people actually call these numbers and be like, yeah, I want to sell my fucking house, Like, do you guys know anything about that? Like, I don't know why I just randomly thought about that, but like, I just don't get it.
Well, it's a flipper strategy, right? I mean, you might have a different answer, but so if you got a pool of cash, you put up a sign and
a handwritten sign on a utility pole outside of a fucking Popeyes. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a certain kind of homeowner that hates the whole idea of realtors and the city and administrators and taxes and all this bullshit. I should just be able to sell whoever the fuck I want to sell it to. I bought this house back in 1963 with a $15,000 check, and I should be able to do my own business. And there's a certain kind of person that hates the process, and they go, you know what? I'll call this guy, see what I'll see what the fuck he wants, right? And sometimes they haven't, because that person who's making that offer is going to go. It's pretty easy nowadays to look on the internet. You get enough information about a property. This home is probably worth $307, and you go, hey, you know what? Hey man, if you want to sell this place, I got $285 cash, right?
Right.
And if that person, if they in their head were thinking $270, because they're not on the internet, and they're going, hey, $285, you're a sucker. I'll take that, right?
That's a good point.
I only paid
like
$15,000 for it back in '60.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's all different scenarios that if you go through 100 or 1,000 people, there's some match percentage. That's my take on it. I don't know if you have a different.
No, I would definitely agree with that. There.
Have you written your phone number on some Popeyes post?
No. They're called bandit signs. Typically done on telephone poles, and you'd said Popeyes. Like what they're targeting a specific demographic. Like with handwritten, just like what you were saying. A specific audience is going to call that number.
Right.
Great tool for potential inbound calls. I've never personally used it because I prefer like very niched marketing. I prefer door knocking. I prefer like direct to seller contact versus bandit signs. And bandit signs they're just a lot of work. We text and have outbound calls and stuff like that. So, but they do work. They do work. I actually, if I see one, I often call it so I can create a relationship with that person on the other end. And
Interesting.
He can send me the deals, or he or she can send me the deals. Yeah.
It's an ambitious wholesaler.
It is, man. Yeah.
A motivated.
Yeah. Most of the time, that doesn't cost a bunch of money to market like that. So it is somebody who's fairly new. And, I'll buy your house for cash. I love the sign. I don't know. Recently it says you got diabetes and you you can exchange like your diabetes tests or something, and you get money for your diabetes tests.
That's been popping up around here for the last 6 or 8 months, like crazy.
Yeah, there's a bandit sign.
You could use like Medicare or whatever to get the strips and to sell them. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, like an unused test.
Yeah.
That seems dangerous. It seems like a sketchy world.
Hey man, there's a bunch of different ways to make money. People are making money.
I'm not hanging out at Popeyes enough.
I respect the guy that came up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lem. Is this where we wanted this podcast to go?
You know what? I'll do is plug yourself, and then I'm gonna actually cut this out and put the beginning too. So you mention that you do a podcast, and then if anyone's interested in real estate, what type of clients are you looking for, and how should they contact you? So plug yourself on everything.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna use the restroom. Pink,
Okay.
You're gonna miss this pitch.
Liam, cut this out. Yeah, I know.
You're gonna miss the pitch.
I've had to pee for 40 minutes. Man. I'll be back.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Talk about financial literacy, real estate investing, personal development. At Tyson DelaCruz on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook, also at Tyson DelaCruz. And any updated information, any events that I host will be at TysonDelaCruz.com. Often host quick seminars on real estate investing, financial literacy, and then I have personal development or personal empowerment, personal freedom clients, just kind of helping them flip their life and kind of break out the 9-to-5, which is my main thing, is ultimately using real estate as a vehicle to earn money, to ultimately have somebody find their passion and do things that they truly enjoy, because real estate can give somebody that opportunity.
Cool. And then if with real estate, or I guess they just go to your website and then contact you that way.
TysonDelaCruz.com.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep. There's a newsletter on there too that hops out like once a week. Not too spammy.
Cool.
But yeah, they can check me out at TysonDelaCruz.com. All the updates will
It's
be
not
on there
spam if it's knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check it out. Well,
Yeah, and the websites we're redoing the website too, so new version of the website should be up in a couple weeks.
But just talking to you and getting to know you, like, I'm gonna go check it out because I want to hear what Tyson has to say,
man.
not because I think there's some sales pitch or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Good dude.
Yeah, we during COVID, man, it was so cool because hosted at the time I lived on an acre property.
Mm-hmm.
We hosted freaking sound healing events, meditation events, yoga, had a farmer's market.
Nice.
Yeah, it was so cool, man. Had a bunch of food trucks, so I post that stuff on TysonDelaCruz.com.
Okay.
And you can see the any events that are
so
coming.
I run a meetup group here in Las Vegas.
Oh, sweet.
So if you want me to bring 20 or 30 active people,
Yeah, what kind of
something like a yoga event.
What kind of meetup?
It's technically called Graduated Move to Vegas 20s and 30s, but I don't require any of those things. You could be none of those things. You don't need to have gone to college, or you could be a Vegas local. You could be older. You can't really be younger. I can't really have kids hanging around because we do a lot of drinking.
Yeah,
but I mean, basically, don't be an a-hole.
Yeah,
and come hang out and have fun.
Yeah, sounds like a good.
But
group.
if you're doing stuff like yoga and things that you want people to show up to,
oh, sweet, man.
Because they're always looking for. They basically want to meet each other and socialize.
Yeah.
So an event is a perfect way to.
And that's what it's about, man. That's why I like hosting events. I used to host a real estate investment meetup.
Yeah.
I love doing it. Mm-hmm. I also do some talks or coaching at specific brokerages here in town.
Nice.
Talk to the sales team and help them set goals and kind of give them set them on their way for mindset.
Yeah.
I did that today actually.
Nice.
And then I have a couple more this week, but because the quarter's ending, so good to get people in line and in tune with 2022.
Wait, but if you figured out how to be successful, why are you sharing all the secrets to everybody else?
Dude, success is like an ever unfolding thing, man. And success is totally based on the beholder. Success isn't based on something that's in the bank account, or
You're giving away all the secrets.
hey man, dude, Sharon's caring, bro. Like, honestly, man, like that's been another thing is like, let me share what I know.
Yeah.
And somebody will resonate it. Other people will say, fuck you, like those people that say, fuck me aren't my people. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like totally cool. But somebody's going to hear it and be like, yo, that was super cool. It was so great. Like after the meeting this morning, the agents come up and they're like, hey, I really needed that today. Ultimately, I just want to give people tools that I've experienced personally to help them empower themselves. And if they can do that, fucking kudos, man.
Are you a waking up at 5 a.m., hitting the road hard and 100 miles an hour all day?
No.
Working kind of guy?
No. 100 miles an hour all day is I'm not a fan of grinding all the
Yeah.
You need a brick of cocaine like Joe's got to handle that.
and meth.
Yeah. No, I ask because I do see some agents and brokers and people in the business here in town that they're literally they're up early and they're the most energetic people, and they've got a motor on them that just doesn't stop. And if you're working, 3 times as hard as everybody else, you're going to have 3 times as much success.
Yeah. And that's great.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's many different ways to skin that deal. Like I said, success is totally based on the beholder.
Yeah.
And if somebody feels to do that, great. I'm not a fan of grinding all the time. I think there's seasons. I think we have seasons as people, as humans. Like, okay, this is my season to grind, or this is my season to hustle. I'm more of a fan of aligning with what I want and figuring out, okay, this is truly what I want. And then the actions in the midst of that kind of become easy because I'm clear on what I want. A lot of people will just grind and not have an end goal.
Yeah.
I do wake up early. I do enjoy working early.
Yeah.
Just because I feel during that time, like 5:30, to me, the world is quiet. I'm not getting calls from escrow. My dog isn't up yet. They're up, but they're not like hyper. I'm able to do some work. And actually, I spend a lot of time with myself in the morning. Like I wake up, I meditate right away, I journal, and then I'll drink some tea.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, okay, how do I want my day? How do I want my day to pan out? To me, that's more important than like hopping on and going ham. Because like you said earlier, everything comes with a cost.
I don't remember saying it, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, so those guys that are up early and hitting it hard, I see them going gray faster too.
For sure. And how are their relationships with their family?
It depends on the guy, Some do it well, some
or the spouse works with them.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little bit jealous that I'm not an early riser. Like I feel like I'm rising to consciousness around 9 or 10. I'm like, shit, Tyson's got a head start on me already. Got shit done.
But dude, like I don't remember. Productivity Project was the book, blue book. And he spent like a year and a half trying all these different rituals out on productivity. And for him, based on his human archetype, for him working later in the evening, he was most creative.
Yeah.
And he was most productive, and sleeping in worked for him.
Yeah.
So like whatever works for anybody, like whatever works for you, do it.
Yeah.
On your podcast, is it video or audio only?
It's video. Yeah.
Are you pushing video to YouTube, to Twitch, to Spotify?
Yeah, we just mainly push it on YouTube. So I'd like to. I launched a podcast in 2016, solely audio.
Way back.
Yeah, solely audio. Looking to bring that style back because I do like this format, this long format. Thinking of some ways to kind of maybe spice it up, maybe have like a bunch of LSD and they got to take the LSD.
That's awesome.
But no, like hot ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sean Evans does a great job.
Yep.
Interviewing his guests, and they're able to kind of break walls just by eating spicy food. So something different. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is finding guests on your podcast a challenge, or how do you feel about finding guests on your podcast?
Call the bandit signs. Just keep them on the line.
There, it can be challenging at sometimes, like if we don't plan it out, but as long as we're planning it out, we're fine.
Cool.
So
if you ever need any one of us, feel free to contact us.
I would love that.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm a software engineer. Emmett's an accountant now, then to bartending, then to real estate, and then
I'm unstable.
and then Joe deals cocaine. What do you do, Joe?
Wow.
Other than cocaine?
Yeah.
Other than cocaine.
I'm just an electrical engineer.
Nice.
That's awesome. How did you guys get together?
Was it Battlefield video game online? We were looking for teams, and me and Joe found each other, I think through Reddit or something. So we played Battlefield.
No. We just randomly played one day. I was flying around in the biplane.
Yeah.
You were my gunner.
We were destroying it.
Yeah, and we were
killing everybody.
We were vibing on voice comms. So eventually we got on Discord together, and then
It's the best biplane team ever created.
yeah,
that was like 5 years, 6 years, probably 5.
thereabouts. Yeah, it was 2015, 2016, right around there. And
yeah. And then me and Emmett are cousins. And then, so that's the circle. And then we've also played PUBG together, all three of us, too.
Yeah.
What's PUBG?
It's a battle royale, first or third person, a shooter game.
Yeah. I like video games, man. I don't play too many of them. I used to, but I
don't think I played anything since PUBG.
PUBG's awesome.
I'll tell you what.
I didn't even know you did I play with him? Pink?
Yeah.
With
Or,
Emmett?
sorry, Liam?
That's Mr. Danger.
What?
You only knew
yeah,
now?
that's Mr. Danger, bro.
Duh.
Mr. Danger.
I had no idea.
What a
What?
freaking
How did you
rad
not
name.
know? That's
I
awesome.
just didn't know, man. I don't know,
That's
man.
awesome.
No, but these guys were really good, and I was like, I'm okay. Like I don't play a lot of video games, so like I'd end up on teams with them. But it's a thing where the better your team is, the more challenging your opponents are.
Yeah.
So I'm like struggling just to not hold the team down. I'm like, oh, I gotta not die. I gotta contribute. I gotta
Yeah,
don't do
meanwhile,
anything
I'm thinking the
stupid.
exact same thing. I'm like, shit,
What's your
I don't wanna let
guys'
everyone down.
favorite kind of video games? First person shooters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like first person shooter, Counter-Strike,
Cool.
PUBG, Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah.
How about, or Emmett or Joe?
I've taken life as a strategy game, so I'm trying to.
I think Emmett's haven't touched a video game in a while, so.
Okay.
I play a lot of different games. I really don't have any specific genre I stick to. I like everything from simulation games, like flight sim, job simulator, which is ironic, I know. And then
Wait, you play a job simulator?
I have,
That's an actual game, huh? A job simulator?
yeah.
You're just
And
like,
then
hey, here's this job.
yeah, man, like, hey, man, you gotta file this TPS report, and you're like, oh shit, and you gotta do
Oh
it.
man, the CSV files are
Yeah, you're using Excel in a video game.
Does it really make you do spreadsheets?
No. It's actually, if you, when
I
you
would file a protest.
when you break down a video game and you break down the gamified portions, it's interesting how those, because I've kind of played what was it, cooking simulator?
Yeah.
Where you're supposed to, like, in the kitchen, there's chicken, eggs, pork, and then rice, noodles, and the recipe calls for 3 out of 10 items. So it gives you a time limit for your character to get over there, grab it, and then bring it back. It's totally gamified, because if you think about PUBG, you got these bullets in your gun that you're supposed to kill something within a certain amount of time, or it kills you. It's really the same gamified thing. It's really oddly,
but how is job simulator fun?
it's the same gamified thing, because in PUBG you might be able to pick up a AWM, that big sniper rifle. That's totally.
Yeah, but there's no guns in job simulator.
There's
But there's still
guns.
resource management, and there's still
and human resources.
That sounds to me like one step above Depression Simulator. Would Depression Simulator
You should
be a
try
good
it
game?
Don't knock it till you try it, man. I bet you it'd be oddly, once you jump on it, you'd be like, oh, I kind of
That's
enjoy
so
this.
cool. That's interesting.
I like House Flipper too. House Flipper is a fun one. You buy a house and then you literally just fix it up, and you have a certain budget, and
It's
That's a simulator?
yeah.
Dude, that's cool.
So
That's
kind of
cool.
think of the Lemonade stand. I'm taking us back fucking 30 years ago. The Lemonade game,
With
Yeah.
the Sims or whatever it was.
where well, like you get it was like was it text? Was
Yeah,
it
but actual lemonade stands are fun.
have you? When's the last time you worked one?
Yeah.
I helped a kid that was working one. I went and bought a shit ton of lemonade from him. I always buy lemonade when I see kids doing it.
How much time did you spend actually making the lemonade and standing the stand?
The kid did it. I didn't do it.
See, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, jobs suck.
Yeah.
You're a much better person than I am. Whenever I see a kid with a lemonade stand, I call the city and report a permit violation.
Hey, where's your permit, kid? What else you selling?
Are you trying to show them the facts of life too early? Is that what you're
Yeah,
doing?
exactly. Yeah, you got to keep them down right away. You know, you don't want them thinking they can do whatever they want.
That's funny.
And then you give them a copy of Job Simulator to get them ready.
Dude, Farming Simulator is consistently one of the highest played games on all of Steam. Like it's always in the top 10.
Yeah,
It's like Madden, where there's a new one every year, and people just fucking love that game. All you do is drive tractors and shit.
Can you do that with like the Oculus? I'm kind of naive to it, so.
I don't.
Yeah.
Virtual reality farm simulator.
I just bought an Oculus recently, and they actually have a lot of these, like House Flipper. I'm gonna buy it in VR, even though I already own it in non-VR, just
I was
because I
thinking
want to
about
try
getting
it.
an Oculus Quest or 2 or whatever it is. My buddy just sent me like some discount code for something. I don't know.
Oh
So
yeah,
I was thinking about getting it. Actually,
right
I'm
now,
going
if
to get it. I'm going to
if
get
you buy one on Amazon right now, you get a $50 credit for Amazon. And also, if you have a friend that has Oculus, or if you're on a podcast with someone else that has an Oculus, they can give you a code and you get $30 in game credit and they get $30 in game credit. And yeah, and I actually know somebody that works for Oculus and they can get good deals too. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really fun. Like my friend who works for Oculus put me in their Oculus, and I had such a blast. I just went and bought one because it's just so amazing. And you can also hook it up to your computer too. And you can play PC VR games and just use that. And
Dude, what are you doing here? You could be in the metaverse right now with a meta job.
I can't get in VR yet. I just moved into a new place and I have like this fucking hanging light chandelier that I will break the first time I put on my VR. I know I will.
Oh,
In this room.
from like swinging bats and shit,
Yeah.
killing ghosts.
You know what? I've actually there's I don't mean to get too sidetracked here, but there's this Poker Stars VR, and you can play like blackjack with other people or poker or even slots or whatever. And I've been having a fuck ton of fun with that, playing virtual blackjack, because it's fun too. Because like, you know, people will just hand you a cigarette in VR and then they'll light it for you, and you can sit there and smoke it while you're playing blackjack. And
Are the other characters real people or are they computer?
Yeah, no, they're all real people. You know,
How do you think this is going to evolve in the next 5 years?
in the next 5 years,
Let's say
I think
5 to 10 years. I don't want to.
yeah, absolutely. I think that to equate it to like something that's more relatable, I think that we're in like the 8-bit era of VR. Like we're at the very beginning right now, and I think that the VR technology is going to expand exponentially even in the next 5 years. And I think that it'll become more and more common, just like gaming. Gaming wasn't as common in the 80s, right, as it is now, nor was it as widely accepted.
For computer nerds back then.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in the coming future, VR will become far more mainstream and accepted. And for as much as I hate Facebook and I hate using Facebook products, I actually agree with Mark Zuckerberg. I think that VR is the future of the vast majority of entertainment and interaction that a lot of people have with things. And as it gets better, it's going to become, like I said, more prevalent. But even now, even with the relatively rudimentary graphics and the simple mechanics, it's completely enthralling. Once you put on that VR, you just like I was talking about the Poker Stars. When you're at that blackjack table, you just feel like you're at a blackjack table. Like your brain just takes over and says, "This isn't a video game. You're just playing blackjack." Like, you know. And I think that
are you being paid? Are you being paid to sponsor something here?
No.
Oh,
No.
dude, it's Quest 2.
Yeah.
$30 gift card.
Yeah.
Make
You
sure
sold
get
me,
on
dude.
Quest 2. Yeah,
You
not
sold
one
me.
of
I'm
those
buying.
Link down below.
Call Joe.
I just really think that people are gonna come out with more applications for VR. And I don't even think VR is the start of the future. I think AR is the future, augmented reality.
Yes.
People
100.
will be able to wear things that augment their real life experiences, that blends the best of real life and VR together, you know. And it actually has practical applications too. You know, for example, There's no reason why you can't put on your AR headset, look at your engine in your, I don't know, Ford Bronco, and then have a Ford expert based out of Illinois or some shit, you know, on there with you, and he can virtually point to a piece and be like, you need to take this off, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, crank, you know,
no,
shit like
it's gonna be an Indian guy.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, sirs. Yeah, and they're gonna do the head bob and everything, you know.
None of that sounds attractive, but you would have had me if it was strip poker. Virtual reality strip poker would get me in there to put on the stupid headset.
It's really crazy how VR too, just like it just hits like people's brains differently. Like your brain will override all other senses for the visuals, if that makes sense. Like whenever like there's a game where you walk on a plank, you know, you have to balance in VR, and it's crazy because like you actually feel like you're balancing, even though you're just on a flat floor. You know what I mean? Like your brain overrides your ears, which obviously your ears tell you what orientation you're at. Your brain will be like, that's not what's happening. I'm seeing this fucking plank. You know,
so you're saying the strip poker could be very convincing.
Yes. 100%.
Can we do it in a hot tub?
I don't see why not.
All right.
Next time I come to Vegas, it's you and me find out.
No, it's supposed to be virtual.
No, he said AR.
Augment. Oh, shit. Well, as long as he's really good looking in the AR.
He's like a stud.
Yeah. Overall, I just feel VR has a fuck ton of applications, and we're in its absolute infancy right now. And in the future,
this is a scary picture as housing gets unaffordable. I can't show up to my $19 an hour minimum wage job. I can't afford a $40,000 car to start with, but I can pay $18 for a smoothie to show up at my door. We're going to have people paying high rents in tiny little shacks, living in augmented reality, having their food delivered.
Yeah, sure. It's literally going to be like Ready Player One.
Ready Player One,
yeah. People living in shitholes and then escaping in a virtual reality environment where they can be whoever they want. Yeah, do whatever they want, you know.
I saw this cat on YouTube doing freaking, he's doing he's in his metaverse and he's like a character. He has the full like skin suit on, and it's great. I'm like, wow, and he's doing it live.
Yeah.
It's just way rad, man.
Yeah.
And I do see the applications there, like expand, you know, heart surgeries, construction, like the possibilities are endless.
Oh, you know, it's actually also VR has become a big thing for a lot of people with varying degrees of like autism and things like that. It's a great therapeutic way for them to interact with people in a I don't know how to describe it, like a
eye contact.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to say this sensitive, you know, in a sensitive way.
Probably not stressful situation.
We're not autistic
even like
experts.
paraplegics, you know what I mean? Or people that are homebound for whatever reason, or wheelchair bound, you know?
Oh, could you imagine that? Yeah.
There's actually a pastor that I've seen that all he does is go around and gives sermons and baptizes people in VR. You know, and he explicitly not targets, that's not the right word at all, but he explicitly seeks out
services
people that are in those situations, you know what I mean, that like can't leave their house or whatever, you know. And like stuff like that, I think is just really cool. And I don't think
Jesus would approve of this.
Of the VR.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to afford a VR, whatever, you know. Yeah, no, I think that VR is definitely the future in general. AR, VR, all that shit. You know, I mean, us as humans, it just makes sense, you know. And I honestly feel that people are more social in VR than they are in real life. Like I've never met an asshole in VR yet. You know, everyone's just super chill. Like, hey, look, we're both in VR. High five. You know, and
wait, does that mean you're the asshole?
Probably.
How do you guys think that will either negatively or positively impact the social connection with actual people?
I'll take a stab at it. I think if it's true and not tainted by corporate interests, I'm going to take us there. But I'm gonna take us there. So if it's true and untainted, so I think the connections are going to be true. As I met Joe six years ago on Battlefield, and we have a great friendship now. I think VR and AR is gonna just make it better. I think corporate interest it's just bound to fucking happen. It's going to be Facebook's going to come out with a certain headset where it always shows ads unless you pay $2,000 a month or some fucking crazy shit, or they sell or the best headset is fucking $50,000 headset. So you're going to get these wealth gaps of not wealth as in money, but as in the experience is going to be affected by that. Did they do that in Ready Player One? I think they had ads everywhere, right?
I think they did. You know, as you guys are talking, I'm thinking about that movie Free Guy. It's a newer movie with Ryan Reynolds, and he's actually a what's a computer
NPC?
NPC, yeah. Thank you. Wow, that was loud.
I keep banging my headphone on the.
Yeah, he was an NPC. Is that what it is? Like
non-player character.
Yeah, he's a random character you interact with in a game.
Yeah, and then he discovers, he's like, oh man, if I wear these glasses, I can become like an act and like navigate through my world. It's a great movie. So
yeah,
like,
as you guys
are talking, yeah, it's great.
I saw a trailer and I wanted to see it, and I hadn't.
Ryan Reynolds is great, man. He plays Ryan Reynolds in every movie. It's great.
Yeah, I saw. What was it, Red Notice?
Yeah.
I didn't like the writing on it.
No.
Yeah, it's like every character was cheeky.
Oh yeah, yeah. But like, to me, that's kind of what's expected on a Netflix film with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
it's a movie written by an algorithm. Like it's just trying to hit how could we appease the most people possible without offending anyone? Like it's just so like I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, but it's you could tell that it's just it's manufactured for mass market appeal. That's how I felt about that movie. You know, and Dwayne Johnson and Ryan Reynolds, they both obviously only play themselves. And then, you know, Wonder Woman, she can't act at all. So whatever, you know.
She acted hot.
Yeah, exactly. She's got legs, you know.
It wasn't terrible. I didn't turn it off. So
I didn't turn it off. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I'll admit that Netflix is also very metric focused, you know. Like they literally, like you guys remember the show with Kevin Spacey, House of Cards?
Mm-hmm.
That show only came about because of their metrics and their data that they had.
This is what
they
people
said that
want.
people that like Kevin Spacey, like the director David Finch or whatever, you know, Fincher, and you know, so on and so forth. And then they just kind of put it all together. And I feel like they've gotten better and better at that. Because I mean, imagine the data that Netflix has. You know, they know how many minutes on average you watch of a show or a movie. Mm-hmm. You know, they know what they can put together correlations that nobody else can. You know. And I think that Netflix has mastered that. And I think Red Notice is the absolute epitome of that. You know, they finally figured out how to make things that they know will be successful, you know.
Is your Netflix viewers. Showing you a bunch of Korean options, or is that just on my side?
I see a lot of Korean shit, especially after I watch Squid Game.
Yeah. I feel like the Korean TV and movie industry has started producing a level of pretty good production value and good stories and all that. Yeah. And it was an easy import for them to take the whole industry and offer it up.
I'm going to try to take us down more sci-fi. So my thoughts on the future of AR, VR, I'm going to always jump into cryptocurrency because I love cryptocurrency.
Oh, you son of a bitch. It's all a trap.
GitHub, open source, blockchain, mesh internet. So if you could get a mesh internet tied to blockchain where internet's as cheap as it can be, it's not controlled by one entity like a monopoly of Cox Communications and Time Warner. So then you get internet as cheap as it is, as it can be. It's not controlled by one entity. You get blockchain to help currency. One of the factors I'm thinking in my mind is food source would be a tough one you'd have to do an open source built economy with like, I'm trying to Vons or Walmart. I don't even know how that would work out
to deliver my mac and cheese.
Yeah. But it's possible.
Straight to my mouth.
It's interesting if you take this model. So RISC-V processors, CPU processors. If you could build an open source Windows on a PC where you could have a computer for cheap, but you could only use it when it's online because it has to use the CPU to spread to the network. So the network is an ever evolving mesh.
That's my Chromebook.
Does Chrome actually push the CPU back to this to the?
Not quite that hard, but it's all web based.
Okay, yeah. So you could do all this without one entity, and it's open source code where every programmer and people would have a consensus to put in code changes. So
mesh processing.
Yeah, mesh processing, internet. Then you'd have to get into electricity. I don't know how you could probably eventually slowly start doing this whole thing. It's just time. It's going to take a lot of time. Yeah. So then if you do that, then you get into an AR, VR world. Everything, internet's cheap. The CPU is affordable because you don't have some big corporation like Microsoft, Dell taking profits on the top. So then
it's Alienware now.
I think LAN would be the next thing.
Local area networks?
Oh, land as in physical owning your house. Land. Like the government probably is able to seize your house, or they control.
They do. It's called property taxes.
So that's a factor. I don't know how to factor in and all
Are you trying to decentralize American life and pull the profit out of everything?
I think decentralization is the future. It makes sense.
Not if the profit-making entities that are in control now don't want to.
But that the beauty of decentralization is it only needs a consensus. So if you get to a point where 90% of America, the world, is fucking fed up with the government or the powers that be, you only need that percentage to build your own network. That's the beauty of decentralization. That's people don't understand Bitcoin or Ethereum and blockchain. This is the paradigm I'm talking about that I've been thinking about for a very long time.
Yeah, but you don't have that much dissatisfaction yet because the average American can eat all the deep fried chicken.
But as the wealth gap gets bigger, I feel like it's a matter of time because this capitalist system is built that way where that 10%, 2%, 1% at the top is just going to squeeze. They're going to squeeze enough where people give a fuck.
You just get squeezed into a very happy virtual life.
If it's truly happy, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But if they squeeze too much and there's too many poor people, too many, I don't know, if it causes unhappiness, uneducated, and then into more shootings or riots, that could cause a big enough revolution. But
I actually think that you're right, and I think we're starting to see the beginnings of that. And to wrap it back around to what we were talking about in the beginning of this podcast,
cocaine.
Well, yeah, cocaine's always the answer, but. One thing that I think one good thing out of sorry, I don't want to use that word. The pandemic has caused is people to realize the value of their labor. You know, for example, like you're starting to see a lot more, resignations. You're starting to see a lot more people not willing to work for shit wages. And I think in general, we're moving towards that way overall. I think that people are changing and understanding. I think that the status quo is being disrupted a lot because of the pandemic in a good way, and also this relates to your housing thing too, because, like I know a lot of people that like once they got the permanent ability to work from home, why would you live in a city? Why not move out to somewhere like Vegas or somewhere that's cheaper where you could still do your same job, but you get to keep more of your money because there's no income tax. You get to live somewhere with lower cost of living, it just makes sense. And overall, I think that people are going to move that direction. And we're not quite moving towards decentralization yet, but I think that it will come, especially in the next 10, 15 years.
I think it'd be like 80 or 120 years. I don't know. I fear humans are too stupid to see the beauty of decentralization. And then there's the powers that be that kind of want people to stay dumb. It's a conspiracy theory thought, but
no, you're absolutely right.
They won't push for decentralization because it doesn't help them.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be 60, 80, 100 years or something.
Tyson, what do you think of all these crackpot theories?
I do know that I've experienced people that moved out of these bigger cities, outside of Bitcoin and all this other stuff, but moving outside of these bigger metropolis cities, and they're now living off land. They're living off grid, growing their own fruits and veggies. They have animals.
Wait, they're going back to farming?
Yeah, like agriculture, like for themselves.
Yeah,
and their community. we're naturally community, tribal people,
Mm-hmm.
and getting back to those roots, I think that there'll be many splits along the way of this ecosystem, that being one of them, where people live rurally and self-sustaining.
Wait a minute. Are you saying there's not one American dream?
Yeah.
When I was growing up, there was the American
There
dream.
was the white picket fence with the 2.5 kids and the dog.
And it was weird because you never thought about it as, we shouldn't all have the same goal, right? We shouldn't all have the same picture of.
No, it's very propaganda-y once you start thinking about it. Like,
Yeah.
that was never going to happen. But having said that, though, there's a lot of people that lived it. I mean, I spent my high school years in Michigan, and about half the people I went to school with, they didn't care about college. They just wanted to go work for one of the car unions, like manufacturing cars on an assembly line, because back then, even in the mid 2000s, you could literally get a job out of high school on an assembly line and buy a house and maintain it on just your salary without even having to have, like, your wife's salary or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But things have changed dramatically since then.
Detroit's gone downhill since the 2000s.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Man, it's so fascinating to me with Detroit and Flint, Michigan. Not Flint, Michigan specifically, like with their water scenario. And I'm just like, there's no resources to fix that. They haven't had. It just kind of shows.
Because they don't have the property tax income to make all these solutions with.
Yeah. Or people want, because it's what? Predominantly minorities over there.
So Flint, Michigan is literally, it's the vast majority of them are minorities, and the whole area in general is lower income.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive. I mean, so Flint's water quality, we're literally talking about a third world nation in America.
It's nuts, man.
Yeah, it is nuts, and it's insane that anyone thinks that's okay for any American to live like that. Like, and I'm not trying to get into American
Sound very entitled right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have the resources to not have that happen, yet we let it happen anyway.
No, you can't give people drinkable water. They just go, it tastes bad, and they buy bottled water anyway, and they buy alkaline water.
Yeah, they'll buy alkaline water and fucking avocado toast
for $8. Avocado toast. Yeah.
It's a bargain. Where'd you get that? I think I saw
it's like 13, right?
Yeah, I think I saw 12 last time I saw
avocado toast, man. Dude, blows my mind.
There better be 4 avocados on here.
And some truffle oil and a piece of bacon. That's what better be on that.
Dude, so Portland is so bougie now. There's actually, I'm not even joking. There's like a boutique salt store in downtown where you can buy salts from all over the world. You can buy all these crazy Himalayan salts and, South African salts. And
I wonder what the difference is between South African salt and pink Himalayan salt.
Different vibes, right?
No.
I watched a short, I think it was probably a 15-minute documentary. The scientists broke it down. There's trace amounts that won't affect you. So there are trace differences, trace as in
the minerals.
Very, very tiny amounts, but it won't affect you.
What kind of bong is that?
A cheap Chinese bong that I bought from my local weed store.
How do you know it's Chinese? Did it have a sticker on it?
Are you being racist?
It costs $18.
Oh, what? So $18?
Americans deserve to pay better.
An American is fucking blowing this shit for $18? Come on.
Yeah, that's hand blown. A gentleman in Flint, Michigan blew that.
That looks like a chemistry
set. Actually, no. A former prostitute actually blew that.
Because she knows how to blow. The podcast has just gone down the gutter.
So I'm gonna
thanks, Joe.
I'm gonna take a tangent back to psychedelics and ego.
Yeah.
Something I was watching Joe Rogan. I think he was on some other podcast. But anyways, Joe Rogan mentioned something about ego. He thinks that might be the biggest. The way he worded it, it might be the biggest problem in humans, and then especially America, but in humans. So therefore, taking psychedelics and or marijuana seems to wipe away the ego at times, and that makes us better to each other. What's your thoughts on it going through ayahuasca, toad venom. What's the word for toad? What's the
Bufo?
Bufo?
Mm-hmm.
So Bufo and ayahuasca. When you think about ego, when I bring that story up, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I like super relatable, you know, because aside from doing psychedelics and experiencing psychedelics, I've like journeyed without psychedelics, you know, like through breath work and personal development, like with coaches and bettered my internal being. And ego is one of those things that holds us back from actually, let me just bring this back to me, has held me back from ultimately experiencing like what love is and what other people can give, because I'm so much in my ego. Immediately when you're speaking, like I'm reflecting upon my relationship with my significant other. Like she is a mirror for me. Because at times when something happens, like we get in a discernment, my ego wants to say, fuck it, you know, like old me, you know, like fuck it, whatever. And just doing things out of hurt. But that's not truly what I want to feel. And I think for me, in my experience, experiencing these psychedelics and my journey through personal development has allowed me to really like lean into my ego and be like, okay, that's just a defense mechanism because my scared little boy is coming out. So I get to check that and be like, okay, I'm not that scared little boy, you know, or I'm not scared or whatever. So why even show up that way?
When Joe Rogan mentioned the ego thing on that podcast, I was thinking about my young self between the ages of 16 to the age of 27, where my testosterone levels were much higher. My judgmental self was just skyrocketed. It was just so high. I just too quick to judge people. And my thing in my mind, I was like, if you're not successful, that's your fault. If you don't have the stuff to make your life better, that's your fault because you're too lazy. You're not motivated. As I grow older, there's aspects where I think some of that is still slightly true, but there's a lot of my ego kind of dissolving away slowly, where I try to think of the society around me, the network of people, where I want a positive change on that. But when I had my ego, that I'd never thought about that. So,
yeah, and I that's a great point, man. And I think we all have ego, and I don't see anything wrong with the emphasis or use of ego. Ego got me here. Like ego gets you guys where you need to be. Ego gets you in the room.
it's this destructive greed.
Yeah. It's that keeps you down and pulls other people down.
Yes, that's the important thing.
So we all just need to get older and mellow out.
Let's take there. A lot of older men seem to. I think men. I don't know if I see it in many women, where they get older and they start getting very political, and some of their thoughts, I'm just like, what the fuck? How did your mind go downhill? Maybe that's a natural brain function.
May I interject really quick?
With politics?
If you're talking about people that are older than you specifically, I honest to God, and I don't have proof of this, and I hope studies have been done on this. I honestly think that an entire multiple generations of people have been ruined by mind-altering chemicals such as CFCs, lead, asbestos, mercury. I honest to God, because this whole generation grew up with shit that is carcinogenic, bad for you, and causes all sorts of weird development issues. And it was normal back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a complete tangent. I'm just saying that's my personal theory. I think that's why like a lot of quote unquote boomers are so susceptible to bullshit. You know, their brains have been fucked up by the shit they grew up with, and it's not their fault. You know, it's really not. But I honestly think that at some point they start to lack critical thinking, because I used to do a lot of like computer repair work, and a lot of my clients were older people, and a lot of them grew up around this shit, and a lot of them were, God, I want to use words that I shouldn't use on this podcast, but a lot of them were very not as functional as they should be.
I mean, I think you definitely lose.
But they were smart people. They were good. They all had, most of them had educations. They worked their whole lives. They were good people, but they just lacked the ability to think. And it wasn't even because like they had dementia or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but I think there's definitely a mental decline as you get older.
There is, absolutely. But I'm just saying that I think it's been exasperated by this generation's exposure to essentially experimental chemicals and materials. You know what I mean?
Pesticides and those things are not good for you.
Before regulations existed,
Like the microwave, man.
Yeah.
When the microwave came out, you had to wear like gloves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
really?
Yeah, I remember eating like TV dinners growing up.
Yeah.
That was like the thing. That was like the staple for dinner.
Yeah.
Salisbury steak.
Yeah.
Delicious.
And you eat that shit off your goddamn fucking, plate that was made with fucking all sorts of crazy chemicals. And, then you would fucking live in your asbestos house, have your lead paint everywhere. I mean, it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Every individual thing that a lot of these people grew up with has been shown to cause various health issues, including cognitive issues. And then they've been exposed to all of it. And sure, most of them were cut off at some point when the government was like, hey, maybe our people shouldn't be poisoned. It's probably not good for the country. Right. But up until then, they were regularly exposed to a lot of shit. And I honest to God believe that there's a whole generation of people that, through no fault of their own, are just mentally impaired. I know it sounds fucked up. I know. Trust me. I
think you're giving. I think you're giving our current generation too much credit for being intelligent. Then.
I'm not saying that we're intelligent. I'm not saying that we don't have our own problems, like social media and all this other shit. Like I'm just saying that particular generation, like,
I would say
there's a reason why when some guy calls them and says, "Hey, I'm from the IRS. If you don't give me $2,000 in iTunes gift cards an hour, you're going to jail." And they'll drive down to the CVS and buy $2,000 worth of iTunes gift cards.
Yeah, I think they all grew up in a simpler time, so it's hard to.
That too.
You get past a certain age, it's hard to take on board new complex ideas.
Sure. Sure. I accept that, but that's another thing that's weird though, is that like a lot of the older people that I worked for, like I said, they were very smart and they had the ability to learn, but there were certain things that I guess actually a lot of it was old school just trust. You know what I mean? Maybe. Yep. But a lot of them were also really stupid in other ways. It's like, all right, dude, what are you talking about?
I kind of feel like it's people in general.
Yeah.
I think the ego thing, to answer your question a little bit, is by removing the ego, you've removed selfishness. I see in certain friends that are either druggies or whatnot, they are so selfless. Yes, they might be lazy in their, if I try to compare my actions, my daily life compared to theirs, they're pretty lazy, but they will not steal. They will not take from somebody else.
I feel personally attacked right now, just FYI.
So take away the ego. I think you will always end up with a human being that cares about other human beings, that will put themselves at more harm to at least help somebody else out. Or they at least won't be greedy enough. They might be lazy enough, but they won't knowingly take from somebody else.
Yeah.
They're too goddamn lazy. Makes sense.
All right, let's go into the final questions. First question, what great daily habit or habits do you have?
Man, off the jump, morning meditation. Like as soon as I wake up, morning meditation, journal. I journal 3 things that I'm grateful for.
Every day?
Yeah.
Wow.
What 3 things will, so this is my sequence. I'll meditate and then journal. I have these 3 categories. The first category is 3 things that I'm grateful for. The next category is what 3 things will make today amazing. And then 3 affirmations. So, and then I introduced.
That's a lot of pressure, man.
Hey, man.
Stressful. Right as you wake up.
And in the evening, 3 things that I'm grateful for. What did I learn from, or what did I learn today? And then how was I a giver today?
I think
cool.
Something me and Emmett often go back and forth. I think he thinks that I kind of try to reflect on my actions too much at times. So I think by you doing a journal and reflecting on your life, I think that's reflecting, where I think too many people don't reflect. I think that's a big problem. I don't know if that's ego. I don't know if that's, I don't know. Maybe it's just human nature. Maybe we don't want the stress of having to reflect on our actions, but I think I'm a better person because I reflect on my impact on the world.
100%, man. And it gives me an opportunity to bookmark some amazing events in life, or, how did I progress in this specific time and where I'm at now? It's a great like opportunity for me to review.
Maybe that, hopefully it didn't sound like I was trying to attack Emma with that, but there is a point probably that it becomes too much. If someone tries to reflect on their actions, they go in circles in their brain and they're not getting anywhere, then that's probably a...
Yeah, but I don't want to sit down and realize I'm a dirtbag.
Yeah, you can't reflect too much. It's about finding the balance. You got to reflect just enough to make yourself better, but not too much that you're like, holy shit, I suck.
I think the thing is, like, with reflection, it's for me, it's so important to realize, like, yo, at one point, yeah, I'm an asshole, or I'm a douchebag, or I'm whatever. Great. Okay, cool. I understand that now. Like, not to beat myself up on it, but recognizing it and moving on. Great. How not to be a douchebag tomorrow? Because I used to be a super douche, times I still can be, but like, okay, how not to be super douche?
For me, it's what I'll try to, when those moments come up, it's me thinking about, oh, that situation, I said something to somebody, I hurt their feelings. Why did I feel obligated? Why did I want to hurt their feelings? What happened right then? Was I angry at something they said? Did they hit a trigger point?
Yeah. Why are you attacking me?
So then I reflect. So then it's the same thing. The next time, hopefully that doesn't happen if I remember.
Yeah, for sure.
Next question.
Joe's going into a fit. We're losing Joe. I think we made him reflect too much.
No,
Brian. You're an asshole, Joe.
Next question. What do you know or think of cryptocurrency?
Oh, man. I'm not like I'm okay with, like, I know what cryptocurrency is. I see it as the future of our currency. We're already in the space of digital currency now. We have been. Whether you bank with Wells Fargo or Chase, your money is digital. It's on a screen. It's not real. So having something like crypto disrupt the banking system is 100% coming to fruition, and is here now.
Awesome. I am a huge cryptocurrency fan. If you ever have any questions, feel free to ask.
Dude,
me.
I'm interested in learning because
yeah, sorry.
Rock it.
I was just gonna say, Liam, are you aware of how Zuckerberg plans on integrating cryptocurrency into the metaverse?
Not really. I haven't been paying close enough attention.
Face coins?
Well, Facebook's actually part of a group that founded Libra. I don't know if that ever went anywhere, but
no,
Libra coin.
They kind of slowly closed it up because I think there's legal battles with either SEC or something.
That wouldn't surprise me.
They quietly closed up.
Okay.
As far as I understand.
Well, anyway, but I don't think that Zuckerberg has it right, but I think he understands the future well enough that he has the little pieces of it. He just doesn't know how to connect them yet. But VR and cryptocurrency, in my opinion, go hand in hand.
Yep.
And I think that in the future, cryptocurrency is going to grow even more through the VR applications and the whole landscape of this augmented reality kind of thing.
No, I want real cryptocurrency. I don't want you to give me virtual cryptocurrency.
I think there's like, I think, anybody that's interested in getting in business or looking at things to kind of invest in or start businesses in, crypto is one of them.
Yep.
Cannabis is up there.
Yep.
Like, cannabis, any type of psychedelics are definitely paving the way. Those are, and then, real estate and then intellectual property for me are like tops.
Intellectual property is like the ultimate passive income.
Yeah.
What's intellectual property? Like owning a song?
No, like creating a course, like this beautiful setup that you guys have here. Hey, this is how we set up our podcast studio.
Yeah, if somebody imitated us 1-to-1, you could easily take them down.
Yep.
For stealing good ideas.
Yeah, like if they made like
I was thinking you're gonna say if someone imitated this, they could easily take me down. I'm like, yeah, they probably could easily.
Well, I mean, that's not incorrect either. But
they just had a hot chick on the show that'd knock you out.
She wanted to knock you out.
Not me. Are you talking about that one chick?
Angie.
Yeah. Dude, she wanted to punch you. I've never seen a woman want to punch a man so bad in my life.
I gotta go watch it.
Yeah, I thought I was friendly, but
oh man,
things I was saying was rubbing her the wrong way.
You were friendly, but you were. She did not take kindly to your friendship.
I was accidentally pushing the wrong buttons.
Yeah, I was scared. I live 300 miles away or whatever, and I'm just like, oh god, she doesn't know my name, does she?
She had a fiery streak.
All right, next question.
Nature hasn't come into the studio.
Put it outside. Don't kill it. Put it outside.
I almost killed it. I'll just let him crawl around for a bit. Next question. What's the biggest problem for humans and what do we do to fix it?
Oh, immediately that comes in, man, is
no pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
How do you fix humans? Come on.
I don't know how to fix humans. I think we're overpopulated. I think generally speaking, we have a overpopulation concern, which in turn affects our supply chain for food, affordable housing, all this stuff. Ultimately, like that's a super loaded question because like how to fix that.
Sounds like we need a final solution.
Some type of pandemic.
Yeah. And
China was way ahead of you guys.
Yeah. It's like that like this whole thing that occurred, it is kind of somewhat population control. Those individuals that have pre-existing conditions, that were already ill, like sucking up Medicaid and Medicare and stuff. Those were the individuals that were affected in some, generally speaking, right?
Yeah,
were affected, and it is kind of population control in some space, because they weren't.
No, I'm just.
Right.
I don't even know how to word that. That was
we're getting rid of the weak.
Like,
that's what you're trying to say. I get it.
Well,
yeah,
I think
basically. But
I'm just kidding. You edit that out, Liam. Don't put that in the video.
It was a difficult illness that came along, and the people that were most affected, and the people that died of it in general, were the least healthy. Like if you're a young, healthy, fit person, then you typically survived COVID. But if you had some other issues, if you were not a healthy person, then it was strong enough to knock out some people that weren't in great shape.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to bring up your other point where we humans might be putting too much value on human life. Like, say someone gets sick with something and it's a $3 million operation to save them. At what point is a life? It's a hard moral question, but
yeah, is Liem worth $3 million?
Nope. Let me go.
Are you worth $1 million?
I don't think so. I
You're
told my wife.
I would say you're worth about $1 million too.
I tell my wife if she can't live a happy life, then let me go.
What if she's just mad at you?
Well, no, within reason.
Wait, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like smothering you?
This motherfucker.
Like as if
Cut him.
if I'm on
very different questions.
If I'm in a hospital and somehow the daily cost is
motherfucker. Cut his Achilles, sever his artery.
You die in pain.
I'm gonna put you down like Old Yeller.
All right, next question.
So
Sorry,
overpopulation, man. Yeah, for sure. 100.
I've always said the Big Bang was the biggest mistake in the history of the universe.
It all got started.
Yeah, man. There'd be no problems if that hadn't happened. I'm just saying.
True.
All right, next question's all.
Armageddon, man. Bruce Willis. What a guy.
Saved us all.
Saved us all.
Next question's a lot easier. What's your favorite food or dish?
Oh, man. That is not easy. That's not easy. Favorite style of food? I would say like Thai food. Thai food's probably top. Some tom kha soup.
If someone, I had a magic wand that said you have to only eat Thai food for the rest of your life, 7 days a week, would you be able to
now
do
you're
it?
turning into torture.
Sorry, I didn't mean to torture you, but do you love it that much?
Yeah, it's pretty well versed. There's veggies. It's not too heavy. Favorite dish though. Man, like, yeah, I would say pad thai's pretty. I like some. I like
Delicious.
I like a good pad thai, man.
Have you happened to find a correlation on the color of pad thai to your liking? Meaning, is it usually a little bit more orange? Have you found some that's a little bit brown? For some weird reason, when I find the brown ones, I tend to like that more. I don't know what it is.
The brown versus the orange.
Ooh, I know. Oh, it means there's more soy sauce in it. And
Is that what it is?
It's less sweet. It's
really?
more savory than sweet.
I do like the sweet, but then I get the little pickled jalapenos and the
Okay.
yeah.
For spicy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a sucker for all food though, man. Like,
You ever had Korean barbecue?
dude, Korean barbecue is fucking fire.
I'm with you
So
on that.
fire.
I love it.
I like the sides too.
Yeah.
Like the sides, man.
Is it all you can eat up there?
The fish
No.
cakes.
Down here for about $30, there are a handful of great all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue places.
Really?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Fire.
One Korean barbecue tip. I actually don't remember the dish. It's one of the side dishes, and it's like a noodles with veggies. It's like a clear noodle. If you ask
Clear
them,
noodle.
Yeah.
it's kind of like a
Glass
clear-
noodle.
glass noodle with the veggies and stuff. It sometimes has a brownish, and they might add some soy sauce, but you could ask them to warm it up. It usually comes out cold. Warm is a game changer on that dish. So that's my tip.
I'll
Okay.
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
You
Ask
got
them
a
to,
fire right there. You can just put it on the...
well, I didn't think about that.
It'll fall through the grill. It'll fall through the grill.
Yeah.
That grill's.
If the dish could handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last
Just cook it up.
Cook it up.
last question. I think I'm going to add one in there. So it's usually shout out two friends who should do this conversation. Who do you think would be a good guest on my two friends that would be a good guest? And then also I want to ask you, how do you know Rick Fan?
Great. So first question, two friends, actually, Corey Holtum, owner and operator of Rec Room out here in Las Vegas.
Oh, I know what that is.
Yeah. I think great guest.
This is a business where you go in with a baseball bat and you pay to break shit.
yeah.
Like destroy
okay.
TVs. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Super cool. And then, my significant other, Jennifer, she's like, she would love this space too. Cause, she's just the questions that we asked. She'd get a kick out of this too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. What does she do for a career?
So she's a Reiki practitioner, Kundalini yoga instructor,
Okay.
and she has coaching clients. Yeah.
Cool.
And with Rick, man, I met Rick I used to host these real estate investment meetups with another buddy of mine, and he was going to those, and then I spoke at a like 3-day real estate investment weekend, and he went there, and then we really connected.
He's a fun guy. He's really
Dude,
cool.
he's a hoot, man.
Yeah.
He's a hoot, man.
Did he know you prior to, was it 2017, the first time you did psychedelics?
No. We've only known each other maybe for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah, great. He's freaking blast, man. He likes to grub too.
Yeah.
Sushi Sushi's probably on the top of the food thing too.
Awesome. All right, let's call this the end, gentlemen. Joe, you got a drink with you to cheers for the end?
You got the bong though, man.
I got Trulies.
All right. Tyson, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending 3 hours with us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's good talking to you, man.
Yes, same here, man.